Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And also salam sejahtera to all the conference participants. I'm Dr. Siti Suriani Othman from the Communication Program, Faculty of Leadership and Management, Universiti Sains Islam Malaysia, USIM. So thank you so much for spending your time to listen to this presentation. I'm so happy that I'm part of the conference. So thank you so much to UNISBA, the panitia, the committee for giving us the opportunity to present in this conference. So I'm sharing my screen for the presentation. So inshallah, the presentation is on the development of data journalism in Malaysia. And since my majoring is in journalism, so the development of data journalism is one of the issues or development that we are looking forward as well in Malaysia. And I'm going to present on the development in the Malaysian context. So basically, I think for those who are in this journalism field, we are aware of what data journalism is. Basically, it integrates data analysis with storytelling. In the West, data journalism is something that is not rare. Yeah, they practice it quite a lot in almost all media organizations. Yeah, but for us, it is still emerging generally in the Southeast Asia, including in Malaysia. So basically in Malaysia, from our observation, it shows that only few media organizations who have adopted data journalism. So because we don't have a lot of literature on this, so I have several of my students in 2001 and 2022. They are my undergraduate students, but we encourage them to study data journalism, and they have basically completed their thesis on data journalism, the development of data journalism in Malaysia. And I'm going to share the findings because, as I said, we don't have a lot of reading materials on data journalism in the Malaysian context yet. So I think by sharing the summary of these 4 studies, all of us will be able to get some idea of how much data journalism has developed in the context of Malaysian journalism. And they, all the 4 theses and the students were, they conducted qualitative studies with data journalists in Malaysia. So we get primary information directly from those data journalists. So basically, data journalism, before we go to the findings of the 4 theses, we go to a bit of the literature review, especially for those who are listening and you are not coming from the communication field. So what is actually data journalism? So some of the definition can be data journalism includes computer assisted reporting, CAR. Usually it is integrated with computer things, of course, from the name, and then data visualization and also computational journalism. So in the Europe, not only in the US, they have adopted, basically the adoption of data journalism is influenced by open data movement. This is also one of the challenges that we are facing as well in Malaysia in terms of how open the data that we can use for reporting. And then data journalism combines storytelling with data extraction and also visualization. Yes, so data are used to write news reporting basically, and also it helps visualization to make it more interesting and more interactive, so that the stories are not still and static. And data journalism requires multidisciplinary knowledge, including journalism, data science, and also design. Okay, so that should give you some idea of what data journalism is about, and that gives us the way to continue to understand the development of data journalism in Malaysia. So as I've said before, this the summary of 4 of the thesis of my undergraduate students. As I said, because we don't have a lot of readings related to data journalism yet in Malaysia, so we encourage the student to conduct their thesis with real data journalists who are practicing data journalism in Malaysia. So basically for the thesis of Amir Mustaqim 2022, he did interview data journalists from Bernama and EBDES. So he interviewed 3 practitioners, and the findings show that data journalism is being practiced in Malaysia in the context of Bernama and EBDAS, but it is limited. So the main challenges are basically data access. As I've mentioned before this, the open data is not really a practice yet in Malaysia. Skill gaps and also pandemic constraints because this thesis that was done in 2022, so it is very much influenced as well by the pandemic in 2020, 2021. And also there are issues, emphasis on transparency and also ethics in conducting data journalism in Malaysia. The second study is by Amira Zulkifli, 2021, who focuses the thesis on the current development of data journalism in Malaysia. So she did an interview with data journalists from Data N Company and also the newspaper The Star. The findings are similar and supporting the previous study that data journalism practices in its early stage adoption, where only few media organizations at this moment were practicing data journalism. And the barriers includes investment, skills, and also the level of awareness among journalists themselves. And for future prospect, it depends on training and also institutional support. The third study is by Fatin. So the focus is specifically on the practice of and also development of data journalism during the COVID-19 pandemic. So she interviewed 3 emerging practitioners who are data journalists, but they are young. Most of them have only 1 to 2 years experience, but that's is quite normal because, as I said, we don't really have a lot of, we don't really, in fact, have a lot of senior data journalists yet, So the findings show, that the practice is there, but it's still limited. And also there are some minor changes done due to pandemic. So there are some adaptation done to adjust to the pandemic situation at that time. In terms of ethical concerns, they have issues related to source credibility and also data integrity. These are being told by the data journalists themselves, and also highlights the need for structured training and support. And the final one is in terms of practice, a study by Asma, who explored how data journalism is practiced in Malaysia. Data journalism is being practiced in Malaysia, including its characteristics, challenges, and also ethical considerations. Again, the student interviewed 2 expert practitioners from Data N, and also the newspaper The Star. The findings show that data journalism remains rare, and also basically is underdeveloped in the Malaysian newsrooms. Challenges include poor data access, lack of skills and awareness, as mentioned before, and also weak institutional support. Ethical concerns include the focus on transparency, accuracy, and also responsible data use. So basically, we can see that from all the research findings presented just now, data journalism, we can conclude in Malaysia is still in its infancy. Adoption are made by some organizations, but limited to few. For example, Bernama, Data N, The Star, and also EBDAS. And the challenges mainly informed by all the informants in the studies, lack of access to reliable data. Second is limited journalist training. And the third one is ethical and technical barriers. And some positive signs, however, of course, we see that data journalism practice is growing. The growing awareness happening among journalists, and also the interest of journalists to involve and get to know more about data journalism, especially after or post-pandemic. So conclusion from all these studies that it reveals, all the 4 studies reveal that data journalism in Malaysia is still underdeveloped. However, it is being practiced by a limited number of media organizations in the country. So common challenges include restricted access to public data, insufficient technical skills among journalists themselves, and lack of institutional support. The studies also highlight ethical concerns, as we can see before, which are transparency issue, source credibility issue, and also responsible data use. However, despite all these issues, all studies note a growing interest in data journalism, which is a good news to Malaysian journalism landscape, especially following the COVID-19 pandemic, indicating potential for future growth. So besides that, I would like to also share a bit of the comparison I mentioned in the introduction of the presentation just now, the fact that data journalism in Malaysia is still in its infancy. You can see that as well from the 4 findings of the research that I've presented just now. But when I say at the beginning of the presentation that in Southeast Asia, basically, we are not so advanced yet in terms of the practice and development of data journalism. So I want to compare to give you some idea of several countries who are practicing data journalism in Southeast Asia as compared to Malaysia. So let's compare with the practice of data journalism in Malaysia as presented before with neighboring countries. So Indonesia, interestingly, it shows that in data journalism in Indonesia, it shows strong growth via initiatives like Indonesia Data Journalism Network, IDJN, and also some media outlets like Kata Data and also Tempo. They actively produce data-driven reports as well. And in Singapore, the integration of data journalism is quite major. It's happening in major outlets like the newspaper, the Straits Times, and also the high government support for open data and also digital journalism innovation. The third country is the Philippines, where active data journalism community exists, for example, PCIG and Rappler. And the challenges in this country, it includes data transparency and political pressures. So why did I choose these 3 countries to compare with Malaysia? Because generally, the Philippines, Indonesia, and also Singapore. These are 3 countries who are considered quite advanced in practicing data journalism in the Southeast Asia. So it's interesting to see some of the countries who are, we can see that basically it is ahead in terms of the practice of data journalism as compared to Malaysia. Something for Malaysia to learn as well and to take it as a motivation. So as a conclusion, data journalism in Malaysia is still in its formative phase, with only few organizations like Bernama, Data N, and the STAR and EBDAS adopting these practices. 4 qualitative studies, as presented, reveal recurring challenges such as limited access to reliable data, lack of training, and also minimal institutional support. Ethical concerns also persist, including transparency issue, data accuracy, and also accountability. So we have also compared neighboring countries like Indonesia, Singapore, and the Philippines, and Malaysia is a little bit lag of behind in terms of the practice and the development, which requires stronger investment in training, open data policies, and newsroom collaboration to realize its potential. So thank you so much for listening. I hope you have the opportunity to get some idea about the development of data journalism in Malaysia. I'm so happy to be part of this. Thank you so much for joining. We will meet again, inshallah, in the future. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. Salam sejahtera.